Okay, today we're going to learn about synthetic division. It also can be called synthetic substitution, and it can be used for a couple of different things. So we'll be using this on and off throughout this chapter. So synthetic division or synthetic substitution, we're actually going to use the concept of substituting today. Now, something that you've known how to do for a long time, you've done it 100 times over, is direct substitution. So all that is if I want to find the value of 3, I'm going to take 3 and I'm going to plug it in for my variable x. And so when I do that, just follow your order of operations. I'm going to simplify. And then 54 minus 6 plus 1. And that's going to be 49. Okay, we can do it for example 5 also. If I plug in a 3, so it's going to be 5 times 3 cubed minus 2 times 3 squared minus 8 times 3 plus 16. So 5 times 27 minus 2 times 9 minus 24 plus 16. Well, 5 times 27, I think that's 135. 135 minus 18, and I'm going to go ahead and put my minus 24 and plus 16 together. That's minus 8, and I think that is 109. Okay, then you can pause the video and you can do these other couple 6 and 7. So I went ahead and did those, -1 and a -11. Okay, so that's direct substitution. You all know how to do that. All right, I'm going to show you now this new method that we're going to learn, and it's called synthetic substitution. Okay, now synthetic substitution just uses the coefficients. Okay, so if I go back here, actually, let's do number 5 first. Okay, so if I go back here, there's, look at your coefficients. 5, -2, -8, 16. Okay, so I'm going to use those coefficients. I'm going to make a little corner box. We're going to fill that in a second. But just list out your coefficients, leave a little bit of space between them. Okay, and then in this box, in that little corner, you're going to put the value that you're wanting to substitute in. So in this case, it's going to be 3. Okay, here's the method. You bring the first term all the way down. So draw a line, leave a space so that you have room to write numbers. You're going to bring the 5 all the way down. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to take 3 times 5 and you're going to multiply that. That's 15, and 15 is going to go right here. Okay, now this is going to be weird the first couple of times you do it, but once you get the hang of it, it's kind of cool. All right, and then you're going to add. So when I add those two together, -2 plus 15, that's a 13. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing over again. You just follow this pattern. So I'm going to take 3 and I'm going to multiply it times 13, and that number is going to go right there. So 3 times 13 is 39. And then I'm going to add. So you add these two together. -8 and 39, that's 31. Okay, one more time. So I'm going to go 3 times 31. You're going to multiply. So that's 93. And that's going to go right there. 93. And now you're going to add. This is the last time you're going to add. And that is 109. So you get 109. So this last number is going to be the same as if you had done your direct substitution. Okay? All right, so the pattern is you use your coefficients, bring down your first number, and then you multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. Okay? All right, let's look at example 6. So in this one, do the same thing. So in the little corner box, we want to substitute in -2. So I'm going to do -2. And now you're going to do your coefficients. So the x to the fourth would have a coefficient of 1. Then I would have 2, -3, and -7. Again, leave space for a row of numbers. Draw a line. You're going to bring the 1 all the way down. Now follow that pattern. Multiply. So -2 times 1 is going to go here. So that's -2. And then we're going to add. And this time we get 0. That's okay. But just keep doing the same pattern. So take the -2, you're going to multiply it times 0. So that's a -2. Okay, then you're going to add. Okay, same pattern. We're just going to multiply and add. Now go back, multiply again. So -2 times 5, and that's going to go up here. And let's see, -2 times a -5, so that's going to go +10. And then add for one last time, and we should get, well, we got 3. Well, looks like what did I do? I made a mistake. Oh, right there, I see it. Okay, back up a little bit. Right here is my mistake. This number, when I multiplied, that should have been 0. And I messed that up. Okay, multiply here and 0, and I even think I said 0. But when I wrote it, I did not write it correctly. Okay, so add together, -3, multiply, I get +6 when I multiply that. And now when I add those two, I get -1. There we go. Now I match. Okay, so the arithmetic is easy. It's multiply or bring it down, multiply, add, multiply, add. The last number you get, that's going to be the value. Okay, let's do number 7 here quickly. Let's set it up. So coefficients again. Okay, now look, this is a 4th power. So I'm going to have my little box that I'm going to put my 2 in. Now my coefficients, I have a -2, and then I have a 3, and then I'm going to put in a 0 because if you notice, we're missing a quadratic term. Okay, we've got to the 4th power to the 3rd power. We skip the 2nd power, and this 8x is a 1st power. Okay, so when you're using synthetic division or synthetic substitution, we have to have a placeholder for that. Everybody has to have a spot. So that x squared, you're going to use a 0, and then it's going to be a -8, and then lastly 13. Same thing. So bring that first number down. Okay, you're going to go through, you're going to multiply again, and that's going to set up here. So that's going to be a -4. You're going to add, and that's a -1, and then just do the same process. Okay, so now I'm going to multiply again. That's going to be a -2. It's going to go here. I'm going to add. I'm going to multiply. I'm going to add. I'm going to multiply. And I'm going to add -11. Okay. Let's go back to number 4. So the value I want to find is 3. So 3 is going to go in my box. My coefficients are 2. And then notice this is why I skipped this one earlier, because notice we have a cubed term, but there's no squared term. Again, we happen to be missing that one. So a 0, and then a -2, and then a 1. So 2 comes down, multiply, add, multiply, multiply, add, and there's the 49. Okay, again, I know it'll take a few times for you to practice to get used to it, but this synthetic substitution will really come in handy. And if you think about it, it's less tedious than doing all of the order of operations, because all you're doing with the synthetic division is you're multiplying and adding. Okay, with order of operations, I got to keep track. Exponents come first, then I've got to multiply, and then I got to go back, add and subtract. So this is done in all just one time through. Okay, I will